Hello, everybody. Welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's Suj.
And my name is James.
Midway through another week. They're always midway through.
Always right there.
Midway through.
What did you just say?
Oh, we're midway through, aren't we? It's like
No, we're not.
we can't record a pod without the game week being finished.
Well,
ever.
that's why we're doing it again on Friday.
That's annoying. We just have 10 games for a change in 1 week.
Well, you're right. Next week there'll be no double game week, mate. You only got 4 fixtures to review next Monday instead, mate.
That's true. That's true.
Bigger Q&A next week.
And then I can leave this country and go somewhere warm. Happy days. Before we started recording, and I didn't know this because I clearly probably don't follow you on Twitter, or I don't even know if you even tweeted about it.
I did. I tried.
You said I'd done a -12.
Well, I was doing my
where it
deadline
came
stream.
from.
Yeah, I really think that's so borderline when you should just be pressing the wild card. But it was so late in the day, there was no way I was going to consider that as an option. So I'd spoken about a -8 on Friday's pod, which I went through with, which was...
And I saw that tweet, to be fair.
Yeah, that was it.
Cody gone.
That was it, locked in.
Goal-scoring Connor Cody gone.
To be honest, I'm not concerned about that because that's not hurt me because Connor Cody would have been sitting on the bench anyway, so he wouldn't have been in my team. So I never would have seen them points.
Trossard went.
So I sold Cody, I sold Trossard, I sold Rafinha, I bought Robertson, Kulusevski, Saka. Great, wicked. Knew what I was doing Friday morning. That's what I did Friday night once all the team news was out the way. Everything great. Doing my deadline stream Saturday morning, just gone live. Boom, DMs start going off the chart. David De Gea's out. He's not going to play. And I'd come to peace all week, and I'm looking for a goalkeeper replacement, Come to peace with, do you know what? I'm just going to let David De Gea run through here against Tottenham. Fine. If he keeps a clean sheet, it could easily be a 9-10 pointer or so. I'm going to keep him. So Samuel Luckhurst from Manchester Men had reported he was ill, probably COVID. He was out. He was definitely out. Oh, shit, I've got no goalkeeper now. I'm taking a -8 and I've only got 10 players. What is this? Oh, no, I do have Ben Foster away to Southampton. What do I do? So I deliberated it for a little bit while I was doing the stream.
Tell me you bought Pickford.
I didn't buy Pickford, no, I didn't buy Pickford.
I'm sad.
I sold Ben Foster for Martin Dubravka.
Okay.
Is what I did, which has only left me 0.1 in the bank. So, yeah, I ended up taking a -12, which actually I'm probably going to see net gain on it because effectively the hit isn't for Cody. The hit was against Breuer because if I didn't take the hits, Breuer would have played. So if you factor in the 3 players I've sold and instead of Cody, Breuer, those 4 players are on 9 points at the moment. Rafinha 5, it could have easily been 15, I think. Trossard's on 2, Breuer 1, De Gea 1, who's 9 points. The 4 players I bought in are on 16. So I'm 7 ahead, with Trossard still to play against me and the other 4 still to go. So it should actually work out fine that it was worth it. But yeah, don't advise it. I feel like -12 is really at the point you should be going, should I wildcard here? Mm-hmm. But if I'd have done it that late because of 1 extra hit, I had to just treat it on face value was, do I believe Martin Dubravka scores 4 points or more than Ben Foster? And is Martin Dubravka more useful for me in 31, 33, 34 than Ben Foster is? And the conclusion I came to was yes. So a 3-pointer for Dubravka on Thursday night at Goodison Park will do the job so it at least levels out and I feel better about it going forward. So, yeah, not great. So I'm on 58 -12, which isn't brilliant. Again, there's some amazing scores knocking about. I feel like I've been a little bit unlucky because nearly all of my players have returned. Ryan Fraser's on a 1-pointer. Dubravka was obviously so nearly a clean sheet at Stamford Bridge yesterday. Saka was a 3-pointer. Other than that, returns for Trent, Rudiger, Tierney, Robertson, Kulusevski, Kane, Captain Salah. But Salah's the only one with any bonus there at all. 1 bonus point. So they're all 6s and 5s, basically. So that's why it looks quite low. But yeah, it's fine. Listen, there's
58 -12.
58 -12. I've still got, the only player I've got that's done is Rudiger. So I've still got 10 to go.
That's a lot of players still to play. I'm on 49 -4. I just did the 2 simple moves that I was going to do. Bowen out for Kulusevski and Kilman out for Robertson. Robertson and Kilman ended up being net, but Kulusevski obviously clearly outscored Bowen because Bowen didn't play yesterday. But 49 is crap. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players to go.
Who's your first sub, by the way?
Weghorst.
Yeah, mine was Breuer.
Yeah. I played Breuer over Weghorst, which then Breuer getting benched was all he's doing. If he comes on off the bench is blocking Weghorst's 2-pointer.
So he came on at half time. There was, I thought he would still start, in all honesty, but it was large murmurings, and this didn't affect my decision making process. A lot of the Southampton community thought he wasn't going to start.
Yep.
Was what was being said on Reddit and their kind of social media forums and stuff. He obviously came on at half time. He actually went off in injury time. I think it was a facial injury, so it's not something that should be long term concern. And he does have Leeds in game week 31, so fine to sit there for myself. I'm free hitting this week. I presume you are as well, Suj?
I am, for what it's worth.
Activated?
No, not yet. I have tripled my rank in 8 weeks. Not bad going, is it?
Yeah, in a bad way, right?
Yeah. Tripled being it's 3 times as large as it was. 120 to 365.
I mean, I've dropped to currently standing at 137 is where I'm at currently. I knew these weeks with no chips were going to be particularly difficult to navigate, so not alarm bells. I've got everything still in hand, bar the triple captaincy, ready for a final push that begins this game week.
Yeah, it's not good, but I suppose we've been keeping our powder dry until now to make this charge, starting with the free hit this week.
How many players have you got for this week?
At the moment, not enough. I've got
Go on, how many?
3.
3, which is what? Son, Kulusevski and...
Benjamin Johnson.
Yeah, I think you're free hitting.
Yes.
I currently would have 5, which is Kane, Kulusevski, Saka, Tierney, and Jacob Ramsey. That's still definitely enough for me to pull the trigger on that. By the way, for those who are free hitting this week, I really don't think it's worthwhile activating the chip yet. I looked at, on Saturday when I was travelling out to watch Spurs, I looked at what the cost would be of the most expensive team you could put together of players who were likely to start in game week 30. That team would cost 81.6 million. So that's probably leaving most of us with, 20 million spare for the 4 subs or so. So there's no urgency. Oh, I must activate it to catch the price rise. For what? For what? And all I mean by that is, let's just say, I don't know, there's a massive COVID outbreak somewhere and one of the games goes. Do you maybe then look at it again? And I mean, that's extremely unlikely to happen, but I just don't see the warrant to bother activating it.
Yeah, agreed.
As it stands, there's no reason to rush doing it. You can use great teams like Peter FPL Teams tool to kind of have a look at what a free hit team would be without actually having to activate the button. Obviously, just remember to activate it. But yeah, I'm not going to press it till Friday afternoon, to be honest. Please don't forget, Suj, I swear.
Is there a Friday game this week?
Yeah, Wolves Leeds, yeah.
Good. We'll do it on the Diff Show. By the time we go to the Diff Show, I think I'll be locked in, Differential Show being on the Patreons. Should we wrap up some of these games?
Yeah,
that's what people want to know. And assets that we want to talk about. Some interesting stories from the weekend. Brighton 0, Liverpool 2. Were Brighton wearing their away kit because it's Ukrainian colours?
Yes.
I thought so. I was curious about it in the game, and then I wasn't going to put it on Twitter, and I couldn't be bothered in the end. I've just assumed that that's probably the reason why they were playing their away kit. Good, nice.
Quite a nice touch because obviously the Premier League had dropped their stand with Ukraine kind of marketing that they were doing last. Marketing sounds like an awful word to use.
No, but I understand as a campaign.
Their promotion.
Yeah.
We had countries like China refusing to show Premier League games last week because of it. So actually, maybe people in China go, "Oh, well, why are Brighton playing yellow and blue?" Well, maybe they got explained, or maybe they didn't.
Yeah.
No, fair dues to Brighton.
That's
for
pretty
doing that.
pathetic from the Premier League to stop doing it because they're worried about their rights. Like
No. That's not why Premier League stopped doing it.
Right. Okay. I thought that's what you were.
No. No. What I'm saying is China refused to show the Premier League games last weekend.
Yep.
because of the promotion towards standing with Ukraine.
Yeah, so let China not watch the games then.
Yeah, but China showed it this weekend, so that's why I think it's good that,
yeah,
that Brighton did that.
we're trying to get the message out, but yeah.
Not that I think it would have made any difference to the result if they played in blue and white or yellow or
No.
blue. I was actually looking expected points since we had that kind of mini international break in January. Expected points since then, Brighton would be 18th. Yeah.
Well, 5 defeats in a row will help that, but yeah, I mean technically, if you're doing what you do as Spurs, win lose, you're due a win this week as well, which doesn't help their cause.
I'm sure we'll muck that up. Look at you getting excited about Sundays of defeat for us.
Keep your nice little pattern going. Liverpool dominated, didn't they?
Yeah, fairly straightforward victory. The big news, of course, at the moment is Mo Salah. Is he going to be fit for Wednesday? I suspect, and it's just an opinion, he's probably not, which is going to be a major blow to obviously those who triple captained Mo. But you could look at it the other way. If the incident had happened 5 minutes earlier, he was sitting there on 3 points or even a 1 point and dead out, it would have been like the Sadio Mane case from a couple of years ago. So look, at least he's got your return. Listen, if you've triple captain Mo Salah and he ends on 9 points, it's not the end of the world. Okay, of course it's not matched what people had in game week 26, but we do overemphasise the importance of this particular chip. I think it's not easy to get double figures from a triple captain. And obviously those who went with Salah a few weeks ago, or even Jared Bowen a couple of weeks before that, these are unusually high scores for popular players to get in double game weeks. But I suspect Liverpool probably won't risk him, actually. That's my instinct. As Klopp said himself, if he's sitting on the floor and not looking comfortable, it's unusual for him. It's not a player that normally gets injuries, is he? So it's a turned foot, was that how Klopp described it. Now, I don't know if that's turned ankle or... The thing is, from a Liverpool perspective, can Liverpool go to Arsenal and win with Jota, Mane and Diaz? I mean, Luis Diaz, he's absolutely fantastic.
So good.
Yeah, he has hit the ground running so hard. I'm fascinated to see what price he'll end up being in FPL next season. And obviously, who knows, maybe if a Salah or Mane leaves or something, he could be a player that lands in all of our teams next season. I wouldn't put anybody off buying him, obviously not now for 30, but in the forthcoming game weeks. He looks like he's playing too well to be left out of that team at the moment.
Yeah, he's so good.
But,
of
course,
so much
as applies to all the teams that are still in the Champions League particularly, that they are going to get rotated. And it's interesting now that Liverpool have Firmino's fit as well. 5 quality attacking players. And very quietly, Liverpool this season have gone about fixing a big problem that they obviously had last season, which was depth. Suddenly they've got depth in numerous positions. You know, Konate's come in and covered them up at centre-back with a little bit of an extra body. Shimikas has stepped up as someone who can stand in for Andy Robertson now. It looks stacked in the midfield area with the development of people like Harvey Elliott. And
Curtis Jones.
Yeah. And now, obviously, those 5 going forward, I mean, that is devastating, isn't it? That they've got the best attack now, I think. I think that's better than City's, as it stands. It's got to be. We've got the 3 highest scorers in the league and the 3 highest assisters in the league.
Yeah, the stats don't lie. They don't lie, James. Are you tempted to add Luis Diaz at the moment or wait and see?
Well, I bought Robertson at the weekend, so
I've
obviously committed to going that way, which I don't have an issue with at all. They'll hang around for me, certainly for the meantime. I'm happy to go with that way. I think it's murky going the other way. Robertson's going to play nearly all the games, isn't he? There is some fault as well. Obviously, Liverpool don't play this week. In 31, they play Watford at home, which is the lunchtime kickoff. Yeah, no early transfers in the international break, guys. And the information from that can be quite pivotal, couldn't it? Like if we heard near deadline Salah's not starting, bang, it's possibly hit out, isn't it? Because afterwards it's Man City.
Yep.
So there is a case to go without Mo, and I know a lot of people ain't going to like that. I'm 0.7 up or whatever. But, you know, if that's the difference between you having Sonny this week or not, as an example, that I think you should consider. You can consider dropping him off, leave the money there, and obviously make a decision close to 31 in terms of whether you're going to go back. I think it's really worthwhile considering what you want to do from a captaincy perspective in game week 31 as an alternative to Mo Salah. Tottenham are at home to Newcastle. Manchester City away to Burnley, Chelsea at home to Brentford. So there are some other good alternative players that can be considered for captaincy. Of course, if Mo Salah looks like he's going to play, he'll be off the chart ownership
West Ham
again.
are at home to Everton, and I know, Jared Bowen against John Joe Kenny. I mean, he might not be back from suspension actually by that game, will he? But Bowen versus Kenny.
Well, it wouldn't be because Everton changed this. I mean, Lampard wants to go for a back three, which we'll talk about.
Oh, go on, play Kenny.
No, he's going to be suspended, isn't he?
Oh, got it.
Oh no, he'll miss the Newcastle game. In fairness, won't he?
Yeah.
So he would be available, but no, I think they're more likely to stick with Mikolenko, or if they go for 4, maybe even stick Godfrey out at left back. So no, you're probably not getting that, unfortunately, Suj.
Shame, but it still doesn't make him any less of a captaincy option as well. But some of the other teams you mentioned there have got good fixtures that week as well.
Yeah.
Brentford 2, Burnley 0. You called it with Ben Mee missing that Brentford would win. I still thought Burnley.
This easily could have. Did you see Jay Rodriguez's shot?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Looked like it was going about 20 yards over and dips alarmingly.
Yeah,
they had chances.
It was like you get these. When you're a kid, you get the inflatable football. They're not like footballs, but they're like balls that
hits a certain amount of pace and just dies.
Yeah, they go in the air.
Well, these balls are obviously much lighter than they used to be. Yeah, do you know what? This could have easily gone the other way. In fairness, Collins, obviously, importantly, is now suspended for the game against Manchester City in Gameweek 31. It is a red card for anybody who's wondering, well, it's double jeopardy. Well, it's because he didn't make an attempt to win the ball. That's why it's a red card rather than a yellow card. We don't know if Mee's going to be back for 31 or not. And there you go, talking about potential alternative captaincies for 31. Yeah, might be worth considering, although try guessing the Man City team if that's 3 days before a Champions League game after a 2-day break. Good luck with that. But it could even be like that, even if you want to come off Mo, Kevin De Bruyne as an example maybe, which is probably worth talking about now because we won't talk about City again till Friday because they play tonight. KDB in captaincy away to Burnley, and then big game Kev against Liverpool. He's big game Kev, isn't he, as I always say. So I think there are avenues to potentially consider selling Salah if he's going to be out for obviously 31. If he's missing 2 weeks, it's no different to obviously miss 2 weeks during AFCON, right? Then you make a decision. Do you come off? Do you stay on? They'd obviously be desperate to have him for that big game in game week 32. Brentford, very quietly, have done what they needed to do. We spoke about this massive 3-game period they had of Newcastle, Norwich and Burnley. They've got 6 points out of it. And obviously Josh Da Silva was sent off after 10 minutes against Newcastle. So we'll never know if they would have even got the maximum points. I think they're up to 30 points. I want to say that. Yeah,
you're correct.
I mean, they are probably 4 points or so away, I'd say. They do have difficult fixtures left, but I think do expect them to get 4 points or so. Yeah, it depends if Tottenham's win-lose record where it lands when we play Brentford in 34 or not, I suppose. Brentford players can be considered this weekend. Tony is obviously on a little bit of a streak now, 5 goals in 2. The switch of formation is great for him. Absolutely great. Because I think what we've seen with Tony a lot this season is dropping deeper than what those who watched the Championship last year were accustomed to. So I spoke before the Norwich game that I felt there might be a change coming to a back 4. That's happened. And now with Mbumo and Canos either side of him, plus the creative delivery of Ericsson, what a cross, mate, for the goal.
Plus.
Yeah, of course. Tony can be considered. And I think so can Christian. What's Leicester's Achilles heel, Suj?
Set pieces.
Not only just set pieces as well,
corners,
but
and
as
balls coming into the box.
As
basically.
seen yesterday as well, near post corner, and that's where Christian Eriksen likes to take his corners. Brentford, think of the flick on for Tony's first goal at Norwich last week. It's a routine they like. They've scored other goals. I think Leicester at home, actually. When they played them at home, they scored a corner from a near post corner as well. So, yeah, Christian, you wouldn't expect it to be a haul, but it could be 5.5-ish. Is a cheeky one, maybe to stick in. I think defensively, probably avoidable. Because it is still a difficult fixture at Leicester. We'll speak about Leicester in a bit. Picking them Leicester players, I don't even really want to talk about it till Friday. Yeah, till the Thursday's game's gone.
We can always.
But I think for those working through game week 30, rather than those 3 hitting, Tony's going to be very popular. There are players in and around that value: Breuer, Weghorst, to name only two, who people are going to be looking to move on and going, where can I take the punt for a week? And Tony, I think, is going to be quite popular because his form as well, right? So you know that. You know if he gets a pen, he's not missing.
Yeah.
He's good in the air. They've got a weakness there. I think Tony will... I can't see me going with Brentford players on a free hit, but I think for those working through, I think Tony could be a really interesting one. Burnley it's beginning to get alarming because they never feel like you're going to score enough goals with them. But then they will get results when you don't expect it. There are them games they've got to come with teams still around them are obviously going to be absolutely critical.
United 3, Spurs 2.
How do we have to?
You have to. Well, the thing is, I look at it and with the result, with Kula getting a return and obviously Kane got a return for owners as well. The attacking players are always still okay. The ones that people have owned are Kane, Son and Kula. Let's be honest. Kulu. I don't think there's any problem
Did you see
with ownership.
Doherty's effective ownership? It's about 67% or so.
I'm talking about the attacking players. From a defensive point of view, people would have either gone...
Christ. I said you can buy Doherty and everyone went and bought it.
Or Reggie. Reggie now obviously got the assist, so he's fine on that side. Doherty, people are man, he's blanked. But...
I saw so much moaning about Doherty on the timeline. I'm like, welcome to my world.
From the
you all got carried away.
From an FPL point of view, I don't think there was anything from Spurs' point of view that made me upset or annoyed about owning any of their assets.
Nah.
It was fine. From a fan point of view, obviously you're going to be upset that you've gone and lost this game and you play horrendously, but they've got the best of the best.
Hang on, we didn't play horrendously.
No, that's what I'm saying. You didn't play horrendously.
No, I thought we played well.
But you lost the game, which is annoying. That's the frustration.
We lost the game because of 3 real big individual errors and because Ronaldo is one of the greatest goal scorers on a football pitch of all time, right? So I think he's got 33% of his league goals against Tottenham now this season, which, yeah, great. The first goal, he's a brilliant strike, and he's hit it like the knuckleball kind of free kick, hasn't he? Where he strikes through over the top of the ball, and it kind of veers away from Lloris. I expect Hugo to do better on that, to be honest.
Yeah,
Dyer should come out and step out of position and close the shot. That said, when you are the middleman of the back three and pressure is on, you know that if you step out and the ball gets played around you, someone's going to run into the space, which is actually exactly what, after Fred's lovely little spin around the corner, Fred went and attacked that space. So it's not an easy and a split-second decision to go, shit, I need to go and close it. I think the instinctive in us all of it is that it's Ronaldo trying to show you, go and close the thing down. The second goal is a ball over the top of Doherty, which was a ball they looked for quite a lot. And it's not specifically Doherty's fault. He doesn't have great recovery pace, but it's a ball, particularly with I thought Jadon Sancho played really well, that they were looking for over the top. And Reguilón made the same mistake that we've seen make with Emerson Royal several times this season. You cannot be, as the opposite wing-back to where the ball is, you can never be the deepest player. And Tottenham have now conceded, I think it's 3 goals in the last as many weeks over various competitions where the wing-back has ended up being the deepest player playing someone onside. Unforgivable. Cannot happen.
It's the centre-back's got to be the line.
Well, the centre-back line's fine because it's offside.
But your full-backs have to track to wherever you're set, or whichever
just
player
can't go
is
deep.
designated.
You just got to be braver. Got to be. It's difficult when you play a high line in those kind of moments. You just got to be a little bit braver. Certainly, as a wing back, you cannot end up the deepest. And on the third goal, I mean, Doherty ends up with Ronaldo, and like, he's an animal in the air, right? Even the way he heads it is really unconventional. Romero loses Varane right in front as well. Tottenham are beginning to have their own problem defending set pieces at the moment, which makes me very concerned for Sunday, because you have players like Dawson, Souček, Zuma, who are animals, right?
Oh, yeah, even yesterday should have scored from set piece a couple of times.
Dawson's miss, my God.
Well, it was Zuma's initial header. You think goal, and then you think Dawson goal. Come on. The players of their quality in the box and set pieces. See, it was funny because we'll talk about that game. We didn't have our key set piece delivery in Creswell and Bowen on the pitch. I'm like, is the delivery going to be good enough?
Who did take the
Fornals?
Okay.
And And yeah, it was just still fine. You get it in that right
You just
spot,
put it in the zone, yeah.
they're going to deal with the rest.
Tottenham have got a real problem beginning to emerge in terms of particularly defending corners at the moment, which is really concerning for the weekend. It's why probably, to be honest, on the free hit, I'll probably be going with 3 attacking players, actually. I don't overly fancy us defending set pieces against you, to be honest. In fact, if you get a fair few of them, I'd be surprised if you didn't score from one of them. It's becoming an ongoing problem. But there were plenty of positives to take from this from Tottenham. The performance, I think, was pretty good. The game didn't pan out as I anticipated because I think we dominated certainly possession and territorially a lot of that, although the fact that we were always chasing the game nearly always throughout. Like even the 2 times we equalised, they went back in front within 10 minutes. So it always felt like we were chasing the game, which probably impacted the way the game planned out. But I thought Tottenham would sit off United a lot more. And United, it works for United when United can go and counter like that, right? With the outlets of Sancho, the quality of runners from the midfield area. I thought Fred was good. I actually think he's a player who gets much maligned, not as bad as people think he is.
I mean, they paid 50 million though for him, so you'd expect.
I get that. And listen, you play for Manchester United and get judged a certain way. I think the problem is he either needs, what he really needs is someone to do the protecting and all the football stuff around him, so he can go and be a nuisance and get involved. He made some really good attacking runs. He played a more advanced position than what he normally does. It's another one where quite regularly you get teams sitting different system when they've got the ball and a different system when they've got the ball. So with the ball, he kind of played more like an 8, whereas obviously without the ball, we tended to sit in more with Matic, which is quite a demanding role. I think he did really well. Tottenham's performance was okay. There was a lot of lights about it. Obviously, defensive errors cost us, but there were some really good performers. I think Kane and Son both were a little bit under par. Sonny could have done with not bringing his slippers to Old Trafford. That would have been handy. He kept slipping over. I probably feel like it's the 100th time I've said this. It's not the first time in a big away game like that where he's under it a little bit. Yeah, Decky, Kulusevski, he is fantastic. He's a joy. And he really gives Tottenham a creativity air that we've been missing. People talking about obviously his ability as an attacking player who can contribute, but actually he creates opportunities for others with his movement, his spatial awareness, his control. Really good player. I thought Pierre-Emile Højbjerg played really well for Tottenham on Saturday. You know, I'm a bit of a critic of his. He was better than Bentancur, who I didn't think played well. But yeah, probably lacking for top quality chances. But if you look statistically through the game and what I saw with my eyes, I think we were pretty unfortunate to lose that, actually. What would you say is the best Tottenham 3 for Sunday, or not 3 at all?
Kane, Son, Kulusevski. Just go attacking.
I think that's where I'm going. I'm also, psychologically, I think really for free hitters, and this won't be the same for everyone, for free hitters, you probably do go Kane, Son. Even if you've got doubt about it, the fact that we've already spoken about you can't spend all the money, I think psychologically you go with the 2 premium players, the only ones that are available this weekend, who you know have the ability to explode. Not that I don't expect the game to be highly sort of. I don't think there'll be a lot of goals in it. Like, we won't batter you if we win. Win, it'll be 1-0, 2-1, 3-2. Like that's probably what it'll be.
Remember, we're both playing midweek again this week.
Well, the 3-2 is the one you would probably want for the free hitters, isn't it? I think psychologically, I've got Kulusevski and Kane. So then, do I want to take Kulusevski out for Doherty, for example? Actually, no. Tierney, Saka, Kulusevski, Kane, as I've got them, I think they stay for me. And then I add my new players in psychologically. Because none of those players are awful assets. Ramsey will probably do what he does for me every week and just stay on the bench, I should imagine. So then my choice is Son or Doherty. And I think it's Son for me.
Yeah.
I think we're not expecting many clean sheets this coming weekend. I think for free hitters, in nearly all circumstances, it's a back 3. Yeah. And it's just a case whether you go 3-5-2 or 3-4-3. So I think, it'll be Son, Kulusevski, Kane for me, which I don't like, by the way. Because it's your big game. It won't be easy. We've
got a bigger game than you this week.
There's no way we're battering you, but then you do have some defensive issues, and we'll come on to you a bit as well.
We'll talk about that because it's not as bad as it has been in previous weeks. Last 3 games, to be fair, have been much better. Chelsea 1, Newcastle 0. Controversial talking points first and foremost. Should Havertz have been sent off?
I think that's orange. This is the exact same conversation we had about the Mane one. For me, it's one where it looks really bad, but actually there's a point where if Havertz is kind of a couple of inches lower, Burn possibly, or actually a couple of inches higher, Burn possibly catches him on the chin with an elbow that goes as well. Havertz doesn't take his eye off the ball. So, I mean, it looked bad. It looked really bad.
See, I think it's
if he'd
hard.
got sent off, it wouldn't have got overturned.
As a fan, you only try and draw analogies to what's happened to your players in the past. Like, I remember Souček getting sent off when he was just brushing his arm off. I can't remember who did he hit in the
the Fulham game.
And then he gets a red card for that. And you think, like, okay, this is way more of a red card than that ever was.
Yeah, of course.
So where's the consistency? But if anybody is looking for consistency in refereeing, then they're looking in the wrong place if they're looking in football. I get that.
Yeah.
But it's just frustrating where's the consistency when something like a little brush off like that, you can easily see a red given, and then other times.
Yeah, but then to be fair,
blood.
With that one, he got overturned, right? He didn't serve a suspension
After the fact.
And actually, the incident happened in like the 93rd minute. It was ridiculous. It didn't actually impact that game.
It was stupid, that one.
If Havertz had got sent off, it wouldn't have got overturned.
No, I agree.
I really feel like it's one where they should just say to the referee, look, because the thing is, that's so difficult for a referee, I think, to judge on field. Mm-hmm. So difficult to judge whether he thinks that's an intent. Just say to him, go and look at it, mate. It's borderline. And that should be the message. Don't say nothing else. I don't know what these guys say to referees, because have we had one single incident this year where they've sent a referee over to the monitor and he hasn't overturned the decision? Can you think of one?
No,
I can't.
No.
There were 2 or 3 last year. It's just wasting everybody's time. It feels like a long, drawn-out exercise to me to show everybody in the ground, right, calm, we're going to change the decision here, so you know what's coming, to stop like the, I don't know, aggro or whatever they're worried about, etc. Everybody knows as soon as the referee goes to the monitor, you're going to waste 60 to 90 seconds of my time, get on with the decision. That's a perfect one where I think that's really difficult for an on-field referee. Say, yeah, yes. It's dodgy, that. Go and look. Decide for yourself. No other message. Go and look. What do you think? And he can then either say, yeah, shit, I think that was intentional. Or he can say, no, I think it was accidental. Yellow's still the right course for that. Fine. The penalty, though, I mean, how that is not a penalty on Jacob Murphy. Yeah. It's unbelievable that they've not given that. I do want to say, and again, I've seen a lot of it last 24 hours. Oh, big game narrative, big teams get away with the big decisions. Does anybody want to say that about the fact that Robert Sanchez should have got sent off for Brighton?
I was going to talk about that earlier in the show, but I felt like we might alienate fans.
It's just incompetence. It's just incompetence. Sanchez should have been sent off, shouldn't he? I'm not seeing anyone who doesn't think Sanchez should have been sent off. And obviously, if the ball doesn't go in the goal, I'm sure he probably is sent off. But does that matter that you've basically nearly assaulted someone on a football pitch? Did you see this guy in Bangkok? You got sent off.
No.
Oh, you have to see it.
Right, we'll watch it after the show.
I forget the name of the player. He's literally just gone up and smashed someone's jaw in, mate. He's been sacked by the club and everything.
Nice.
Yeah, if you're going to get sent off properly.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm in training for the North East South.
Definitely a penalty. The shame of it is that all the talking of again about refereeing decisions kind of blights the fact that Newcastle were great.
Yeah, they did well.
They were great. They deserved something out of the game. Dan Burn lost Havertz right at the end, and Havertz's finish is extraordinary. Probably best first touch of the season. To control the ball and finish it in such a tight space. I couldn't even blame Dubravka on the goal in terms of he should have come. You're not expecting Havertz to do that. Phenomenal. Newcastle played really well. They changed shape. They basically played 5-4-1, but it was obviously defensive without the ball, but they went and pressed, particularly in the first half. They tired a bit second half, but they really got in Chelsea's face in the first half, and Chelsea weren't comfortable at all, which is even more credit to Newcastle when you hear Eddie Howe's comments after the game say they lost Shelvey and Joe Willock in training on Saturday, and say that's what actually forced him to change the shape because they'd run out of central midfield players. Longstaff hadn't played for a while. Joel Linton's obviously still absent. Joel Linton, Willock, Shelvey could all be back for the game on Thursday at Everton, by the way. Really impressive performance. We've got St. Maximin minutes late in the game as well, so there's every chance he'll come into the team on Thursday night. Ryan Fraser was rested. If he was going to get rested for one game in a double, I'd have wanted it to be this one rather than the Everton game. So that's absolutely fine. Yeah, they were really unlucky not to get something out of this Newcastle. Didn't overly create a huge amount of chances, but as I tweeted at half time, it's the first time I can remember Newcastle deploying an offensive, and it didn't look offensive because of the formation, but an offensive strategy away to let's say a big six team, and actually make it work. We're really good. And Chelsea, we're just concentrating on the football here for the moment. Like that, the way they played didn't work at all. So I mean, they've ended up with Christensen and Malang Sarr playing fullback positions in a back four. Oh, that's average. Sarr's done okay, I think, but he's definitely got an error in him still. Christensen is not a fullback. So it didn't work for them. They struggled for creativity. Newcastle generally kept them at bay. It was only right at the end, obviously, Havertz could have made it 2-0 as well. I think with Havertz, the problem's still going to be what I said on Friday's pod and probably last Monday's as well, is that with the Champions League on the other side and Chelsea looking almost definitely secure for third, unless they fall into administration, then surely he plays all the Champions League games, doesn't he, Havertz? That's the concern. So, but I think if they play on the Wednesday in the Champions League between 31 and 32, then I think Havertz be quite popular. What's their 3 fixtures before 34? It's Leeds 33, which could be postponed, Chelsea. What's their 32 fixture?
They have Southampton away,
That's
Leeds
right.
away, West Ham at home, Everton away.
Good fixtures.
Not bad at all. A team with bad fixtures is Everton. Obviously, who have just lost to Wolves. Wolves, thank you for 2 clean sheets on the bounce.
Everton's fixtures do look worse than what they are because of the rearranged games that haven't been organised. So you've got Leicester at home, Palace at home, Watford away, and Burnley away to be rearranged. Now, they're not in the schedule at the moment, so if you just happen to come across Everton's fixtures, you go, oh my God, they're horrendous. Actually, the 4 rearranged games are the ones that may keep them up, basically. What is it, 9 points in 21 now or something? My God. I fancied them this weekend. They didn't play well. They didn't do enough.
Newcastle in 2 days, they're going to lose. I feel like they're going to lose. West Ham away, they're going to struggle. Manchester United at home, they're going to struggle. Liverpool, Chelsea away and home, they're going to struggle. But Leicester at home, maybe. Palace at home, maybe. Both Leicester and Palace are better than Everton right now. You can see them losing all of these games, James.
I'm afraid to say yes, that's a possibility.
This is, I look at it and I'm like, you could lose all of these games or only get 3 or 4 points out of the next 7 or 8 games. That's not good enough. The only thing when I look at the table that gives me any kind of hope for them is the games in hand. And I'm looking at least they haven't played as many games as Burnley or whatever. And that's a bad thing to be hanging your hat on, games in hand.
The problem is, and this was kind of my conclusion in not going Pickford, is you wouldn't fancy them to keep a clean sheet in any game anywhere at the moment. They're playing Norwich at home, whatever. You would not fancy them to keep a clean sheet and not scoring goals, right? It's 4 games without a goal. They've obviously been hampered massively by Calvert-Lewin being missing all season. I'll be honest, if he hadn't been, I don't think they'd be in this much of trouble. Richarlison, by all accounts, tried his damn hardest yesterday and was a little bit unlucky not to return, but they're just flat. They changed system. They went to a back 3. Kenny played right side of a back 3 with Holgate, Century and Godfrey left. Played Mikalenko and Coleman as wing backs. Mikalenko, the first analysis I did for him was that's not a wing back. That's a full back. Doesn't get forward like you would want a wing back to do. Coleman, every week we say the same thing. I don't think I need to say it anymore, do I? Best days certainly gone. The midfield 2 got dominated. I think Bruno Lage could see that change coming because Lampard came out and told everyone on Monday night that he wanted to play a back 3, so he put Dendoncker in there, give him an extra man in midfield, kind of overrun Decore and Van der Beek a bit. And it's just flat and horrible for Everton at the moment. They're in a bad place. It seems like the atmosphere in the grounds, listening to a few Evertonians, wasn't perhaps what they'd have hoped or it should have been. Yeah, it's going to be... If they lose Thursday night, it's going to be a long couple of weeks. I think they might sack him.
I'm with you. I think so too.
Actually.
Yeah.
Because...
Just be done with it.
Not now, but I generally think if they get beat on Thursday and lose badly, they might look at it and go, And I don't think Frank Lampard was particularly a bad appointment. I think he wants to play a certain type of football. And I think right now, Everton can't do that. And they genuinely might. I think if it goes badly Thursday, they might look at that and go, Jesus, we have to get someone in here who's got experience of... I would not be surprised if Sam Allardyce ends up back there, you know that, till the end of the season.
Mad.
I could see that. Despite the fact no Evertonian would want it. None. No one would want it. But it might just look at it and go, this is too important. Because that football club...
The state of the finances right now, Championship would be a disaster for them.
If it goes down, it's not coming back. Like, it could be like Leeds. It could be like 20 years or so, 15 years. It really could be. We want to do a new stadium and stuff. What happens is the stadium, does it go if they go down? I hope they stay up.
Yeah,
I genuinely do. Top division football in England has never, we're going back to the 19th century, never not had Everton Football Club in it. And this is, other than probably the 93-94 season, this is definitely the most dangerous situation they've been in. If they stay up, it will only be because the other teams around them can't win football matches. Because Everton are not going to get to the points total that you would normally want to stay up. What we say, 38 points generally.
Yeah.
40 points is the magic total generally, unless you're West Ham 2002, 2003. 38 points these days is normally enough. Everton are not getting to 38 points.
16 points they'd need between now and the end of the season. Not going to happen.
They've got, 9 in the last 21 or so.
21 games as well. Not 9 out of the last 21 points. 9 in the last 21 games, mate.
And by the way, Everton fans, a little bit of advice for you. Don't bother watching the other teams that are in trouble. It's not going to like watching Wolves Leeds Friday night and stuff like it's not going to help you mentally. I'm telling you, just avoid it.
Yeah, I mean Leeds 2, Norwich 1 is an example of it. Norwich, I think we're also very highly likely to get relegated. This was a real make or break for them.
We have to talk about Wolves, mate. Bloody free hit this week.
Two clean sheets on the bounce. Thank God, finally, because I've been saying they're going to keep clean sheets for ages, and they haven't been conceding lots of goals. So
what Wolves is in your mind for the weekend?
Jose Sarr, Max Kilman, and one other. I haven't decided on the other, but defensive more than anything else.
See what Bradley, our Wolves correspondent, put on Slack last night?
No.
He said Everton was so bad they made Marcao look a footballer. But I think Aït-Nouri's the one, despite not starting yesterday.
Well, that's it, right? I would like one of the wing backs, but
and
if
Johnny,
I know he's going to play, it's very different.
Well, that might mean that Lean is into Johnny. So Johnny's 4.5. We spoke about this a bit last week.
Yeah.
Hoover and Semedo definitely not back to after the international break. He will start against Leeds. He's 4.5. And I think he'll be really popular for free hitters.
Johnny.
I wouldn't rule out going with both.
I might get Neto as well, you know. I know he didn't. It wasn't even in the squad.
Yeah, it's a bit concerning that.
Yeah.
And the thing is as well, like Jimenez have spoken about, like not on it. Played okay yesterday from what I've heard. Had one interesting bicycle kick attempt. But Leeds, they're playing Leeds. Like, do you want Jimenez? 1 week. 1 week it flops, he's not right? There. Well, that's it, isn't it?
He will get chances. He can finish.
I think he plays now, surely. He's not going to leave Jimenez out against Leeds, is he?
Nah.
So I'm going to have a big think about it. I think Johnny is highly likely for me. I think Aït-Nouri is a possible. And Jimenez. The midfielders like Podence, Neto.
Neves, none of them. Not interested.
Nah, there's other good midfield options. Neves... If it was a week where you were struggling for the money to do it, I think Neves maybe because he's consistent, isn't he? But he'd be a bit like James Ward-Prowse. Every time we talk about this sort of player, it's like 4 or 5 blanks in a row. Yeah. So the centre backs, I think, if you're free hitting this week, that's the other thing. Leeds set piece is not great. So, but I know Bradley said he thinks Roman Saï's place might be under threat a little bit. I think that's avoidable. I know Cody's got 3 goals this season, but it doesn't happen often. Kilman doesn't get many either. I think it's the wing backs really.
Yep.
Johnny and Aït-Nouri. I'd be surprised if Aït-Nouri doesn't play against Leeds. Actually, I think they're both interesting. Jimenez, I think for a free hitter is on radar. For non-free hitters, I wouldn't bother my arse to worry about it too much.
With Leeds, they obviously beat Norwich at the weekend, which is a massive result for
them.
And
they well deserved to.
26 points. Rafinha, I'm assuming, is definitely going in your free hit.
No.
You don't think so?
I wouldn't say he's definitely in, no. Like, he's absolutely fine, and I wouldn't rule him out. But once I analyse the games, I think, can I see Wolves winning 1 or 2-0? Possibly.
Yeah.
Do I see Rafinha absolutely hauling at Wolves?
No.
Probably not. I think the Palace game looks like that Wolves had a few weeks ago. Looks like it's focused minds a little bit. You've said 2 clean sheets since. Admittedly, it's against Watford and Everton. Leeds have hardly been banging in the goals themselves in recent weeks. Certainly,
no, but Bamford was back, and he'll work his way back to fitness.
Bamford's not a consideration for this week.
No, but I'm just saying Leeds having a focal point up top.
He played 45 minutes, and they reckoned that he couldn't carry on anymore. So yes, a focal point up front will certainly help because he links the play so much better than Daniel James is not a forward as far as I'm concerned, which isn't a criticism of Daniel James specifically. He's not a number 9. I mean, obviously, neither Bielsa or Marsh, the longer it went on, wanted to use Rodrigo in that system either. I've been using him as a number 10. So, yes, Bamford probably does start on Friday, but what are you getting up to? Maybe 65, 70 minutes? There's every chance Bamford would be a one-pointer, I think, if you went for him.
Yeah.
Rafinha, I mean, I've absolutely dodged a bullet. Because he could have hauled massive.
But I mean, I feel like we say that a lot of weeks about Rafinha.
Yeah, just as close, right? How does Ben Gibson not beat Gelhardt in the air? 94th minute of the game, ball goes long, and Gelhardt, I don't know how big he is, but he beats Gibson in the air, and he's unforgivable, really. Just put your head for it. At that stage, do anything. Foul him, whatever. And obviously Rafinha gets on the end of it. But so nearly could have been the typical Rafinha 2-pointer. Yeah. How many times have we seen that? And I really, really rate him as a forward. I'm really pleased because what I saw Thursday night from both Leeds and him, and unfortunately, and as a lot of Leeds fans will want to defend Rafinha, and quite rightly so as your star player, but he is the one that will get the attention because he is the superstar player who we expect so much from. And on Thursday, he really did look disinterested. Yesterday, obviously, he could have got 3 or 4, right? He seems to be. It feels like he hits the woodwork with a free kick nearly every week as well at the moment. So I think a set piece goal is coming soon. I won't rule Rafinha out. In all honesty, I can see Wolves winning that game 1 or 2-0, and therefore it's probably other midfield players I'd rather maybe have a punt on. I won't rule him out. There's nothing else from Leeds I'd consider.
And Norwich obviously don't play.
I probably wouldn't even consider Gelhardt on a free hit. I think Gelhardt's great if you want to buy. Like I nearly went from a couple of weeks ago to just make weight to get him in as great third forward, bench him most weeks. I think there's no point going for him on a free hit because you're not going to be short of the money. I think the mistake that people can make here is, and I've seen this before, it says free hit. So you don't actually want players who are on the bench who are going to score you points. You want Gelhardt 1-pointer sitting there. I know he doesn't. You don't want that feel. Oh, I'll go for Daka, and I'm worried if he'll play or if he'll return big or something like that. I'd spend the money. I don't think it needs to be
on the starting 11.
If I decide to go 2 up front, I think my backup forward is probably likely to be someone who's in the 6 million range or something, and I just for whatever reason decide not to start him, rather than have Gelhardt on the bench, who I wouldn't necessarily have an expectation that he starts, particularly bearing in mind what you say about Bamford. Remember, COVID's still knocking about. I don't think you need to scrape the barrel here and go, I'm going for 4.5 million forwards and stuff, just because you don't want to see points sit on the bench.
Southampton 1, Watford 2. Both teams don't play this week. So for free hit or anybody buying, you're not buying this week, but Southampton 3 defeats on the bounce. Mm-hmm. But Watford have gone and put themselves on the same points as Everton, albeit more games played. It's going to be tight all the way through to the end of the season down there now. I can see it. Even Leeds, who we just talked about with their win, only 4 points clear. Like within a couple of games, they could be right back in it.
So we've spoken about this before with Watford about they've got the worst home record in the league this season.
Yeah.
But the home games they've got left: Leeds, Brentford, Burnley, Leicester, Everton. You can barely dream up 5 better home games left to play. Yeah. And if they perform well in them, they'll stay up. And again, looking back to that table I looked at on Understat about expected points since the January break, Watford and Leeds 9th and 10th respectively on that, actually, on expected points. And they're more the form ones. The interesting thing with Watford, it's been the case all season, they do have attacking players who score goals.
Mm-hmm.
No King yesterday, who's been obviously a letdown. Sars got injured, and suddenly Cucho Hernandez
pops up.
I should have left him there from game week 1, shouldn't I, Suj? Suddenly he's doing the business, and he's another one to consider at that kind of cheap value. I want to say he's 5 million or so, Suj.
Cucho.
For those looking to work through in future game weeks, perhaps those wildcard in 31. What price is he, Suj?
£5 million.
He's 5, yeah. His form probably suggests he stays in the team. Took the first goal really well. Loved the volley for the second goal. I mean, it rolls down his leg. Remember when you were a kid and you used to volley the thing properly? You wouldn't. It'd end up rolling down your leg. One of them. It wasn't great at all. But they've got quick, pacey forwards. João Pedro has obviously been injured a lot this season. He's got a place in the team now as well. Dennis is still the one I'd go for, ironically. But it feels like, when did Dennis last return, Suj? Been a while.
No, I don't think it's been as long as that. It's only been a few weeks. I need to find.
Yeah, mate. He's been a while, honestly, since Emmanuel Dennis returned. But he's probably still the one to go for.
Did he not score in the Arsenal game?
No. And I think for those who've got and are working through, he's possibly a hold. But then the thing is, for those working through this week, you're probably benching like Liverpool players and stuff. So holding on to an asset like Dennis doesn't
appeal.
Yeah, when there's players, if you can afford to get up to them, that you can obviously move him on to.
Villa 1-0 away.
What game week was that?
26.
How many returns since game week 24, Suj? Which is when they play GA.
Just one.
That's it. The goal at Villa.
Yeah. How many returns since game week 20? Still, just the one.
Oh really?
Yeah.
All right, bin him.
It's not been great.
Good win for them though. I think because they have players who can score goals, that gives them a chance. And Southampton had a really bad first half. Like Watford could have been further in front. Saints changed system a little bit. Smallbone came in for Breuer, and I didn't really understand what they were trying to do with the extra man in basically in midfield. So what, to dominate Watford? Don't know. Them and Brighton, it's like they'll always have a major slump at some point. And Southampton are now having theirs where all of a sudden their assets would be completely off the table. They play Leeds in 31. I mean, as it stands, I'll play Breuer, won't I? But I think people have gone Ward-Prowse and stuff. Fine. But there's so many escape routes this week, isn't there? To players that, Kulusevski, Saka. There's so many.
Even Martinelli or Odegaard, if you fancy a bit of that.
Whatever. Get up to Coutinho. Back to Rafinha. There's loads of options. The Leicester players, Barnes, Maddison. There's loads of options to move that on now. So I suspect that's what people will do. Even Salisu's return hasn't seemed to help them. He was majorly at fault. The first goal was a catastrophe. And that never helps when you're playing against a team who's fighting for their life and you give them one goal advantage. It was about 4 mistakes in the first goal for Southampton. Really bad, not playing well. Che Adams continues to tick over.
He does. West Ham 2, Aston Villa 1. I think it was much more of a comfortable win than the scoreline suggests, to be honest with you. With two teams that played on Thursday, Villa looked like the team that had travelled from the south of Spain rather than West Ham. They just didn't look at it at all in the first half, and just didn't feel threatened by Villa at all. I think they set up with Coutinho. You always think Coutinho's the danger man and he's the main man. So he's in the middle, in behind Watkins and Ings as they set up. But they played quite wide, Watkins and Ings, and left a lot of space in the middle.
They split.
And it meant that it was so easy for us to deal with because there was nothing like in the space that Coutinho occupied. We have 2 players in Rice and Souček, so they'll be closing him down. So the amount of time Coutinho has fed the ball and where are his options? Well, Watkins is trying to run down a channel between Ben Johnson and Dawson. There's no change there, and Danny Ings coming up against Zuma. There was no change there. So they just didn't really create enough that felt threatening. There were a couple of chances that they had in the first half that if you watch the highlights will make you think, oh, they've had chances. That was scraping the bottom of the barrel. Whereas West Ham on the other side kept the ball well, created chances, created openings, good triangles, good build-up play. Again, it felt at half-time 0-0, or one of those where you're like, we should be 1-0 up here or 2-0 up, and we're going to regret this because we're going to end up losing in the final 10 minutes. That's really how it felt at half-time, that we're much the better team. The worry that everybody sitting in and around me was like, coming back from Spain, are we going to have the energy and the legs? Actually, Villa were to be honest with you, I don't want to sound like all the other West Ham fans, but rolling around on the floor a lot of the time. A lot of phantom injuries and time wasting, although Luca Dean did have to go off injured.
Was that phantom as well, was it?
Well, it was
It's
cold.
been a phantom in most people's FPL
It was
teams.
cold, so you might have not liked it. And then second half, obviously, carried on in the same vein. And West Ham did again create chances. I thought Villa were better in the second half. The game opened up to quite a bit of end to end. Like, you have a go, we'll have a go, you have a go for a little while. But then we kind of got more control of the game. When Antonio went down, Yarmolenko's like getting his kit off. I think everybody in the stadium was like, football writes its own stories, doesn't it? And everybody just felt like he's going to come on and score here because the story's written. I mean, it was the match day program yesterday was about Ukraine, and the front cover was dedicated to him, and everything about it had been like, okay, fine, he's back in the squad. Let's make it about him. So it was written that he was going to come on and score.
Beautiful.
Well taken finish. He's only got 1 foot, but it's his left foot.
He controlled it with the other
beautiful.
one, mate.
He did. And the second breakaway goal was fantastic. Leon Bailey, Rice nicked the ball off him. He dived back in. Rice sat the two of them on their arse, burst through. Yeah. Perfectly weighted ball. Benrahma plays it across. It was such a good breakaway goal. He's getting so good
at his driving runs, Declan Rice,
amazing.
Top level.
And obviously Villa did come back and get that consolation goal, but it just felt like it was scrambly towards the end when teams were getting tired and bodies were falling all over the place, and it was frustrating. But I think it was much more of a comfortable win than the scoreline suggests. Villa, having scored 9 goals in 3 games, really didn't look like they had the attacking spark. It's actually when Leon Bailey came on that they were much better. Like, he's very direct.
That could lead to another possible change of system for Villa in terms of how they fit Bailey in. But I imagine that if they stay with this, they would potentially use him as one of the split forwards. And I don't think they're not going to rush him anyway. He's a player who keeps coming back and keeps having recurring injuries. I have a number of questions for you, Suj.
Yeah.
The first one is, did the Villa fans clap when you scored?
Yeah.
That really happened.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
I'm sure when Yarmolenko scored, I mean, the whole place was erupting, so it was just a happy moment of joy for him.
I'm going to be honest, I don't think I'd have been clapping.
Well, I didn't hear anything negative, put it that way.
No, you don't expect anything negative. I'm just saying it was largely reported that the Villa fans clapped when Yarmolenko scored.
I don't have any reason to dispute that claim. Although where I'm on the side that he scored and the away fans on the other end, so if they were not clapping or booing, I wouldn't know. But from everything I've seen,
no one's suggesting booing for a second. That's a nice touch from Villa fans. It's easy when you're 10th in the league, admittedly. If you had to free hit right now and you had to have 3 West Ham players, who would you go for?
If I had to have 3 West Ham players,
I guess you're not going to then.
No, I might. I'll have a couple.
Go on in.
Craig Dawson. Every set piece, mate. Craig Dawson.
I mean, here's the thing though. If you're free hitting, and I don't agree with that as a call either, by the way, on Craig Dawson, I think it's a super shout. But if you're going with 3 attacking Spurs players, do you want to put a West Ham defender in?
Well,
now we could win 3-2 and they
Craig
could all
Dawson
score.
as much for the attacking threat as anything else.
Ridiculous that sounds.
But we're brutal on set pieces.
I know.
We gave them trouble again yesterday. I mean, Buendia's save from Zuma was a fantastic reaction save. Not Buendia. Fucking Martinez. Getting my RGs mixed up there. Craig Dawson in. Now, the challenge is we've got a game on Thursday, so what happens from a fitness point of view? Assuming everybody's fit, then I would consider Antonio. I would consider Benrahma as the 2. I'd probably say you can consider Lanzini. Lanzini Fornals, Benrahma. There's not a lot in it between them. It's like, which one are you going to get on the day? Benrahma picks up 2 assists, Fornals gets a goal. So I'd want to wait and see after Thursday. For example, if Aaron Creswell's fit, I'd consider him potentially over Dawson, or him as well as Dawson. And defensively, I don't have a problem going with West Ham as good as Spurs are. Since Zuma's come back in the team, you look at the last 2 games, with we're nearly a clean sheet against Villa, clean sheet against Wolves. We only conceded the 1 against Liverpool. We nearly kept a clean sheet against Newcastle. We only conceded 1 against United. Clean sheet against Watford. I think with Zuma in, we're defensively quite solid, to be honest with you. So if Kane goes up against Zuma, I back Zuma in a physical battle. He's got the strength. If Kane drops in deep, then you've got 2 holding midfield players in Suchek and Rice that should be sniffing out the space. So I don't mind going West Ham defensive.
2 clean sheets away from home all season for West Ham.
Yep.
Those were at Southampton and Burnley in 0-0 draws. I'm just looking at Dawson specifically and his returns this season. Never more than 6 when you've kept a clean sheet. When he's scored, he's had a 9 and a 7. So no double point return all season. Is that really worth going for? Let's be honest, he's probably 4 or 5 goal a season, man. He's got 2 so far, which he hasn't played all 38 games, admittedly. He's not first choice.
But it's the threat is always there.
I don't disagree with you. Tottenham, as I said, there's a trend happening where set pieces are becoming a problem. And for me, West Ham are arguably the best at them offensively in the league. Suj, Antonio, what's the injury prognosis, mate?
Well, I will say to you what David Moyes has said to every journalist, and has said he's going to say to every journalist. I ain't telling you shit. But at least, to be fair, he's being upfront about it. He's like, why am I going to give you news? Because I'm giving news to Sevilla. Let them sleep on it and think about it.
Aaron Cresswell.
Again, there's 2 problems, right?
Jared Bowen.
3 problems.
I hope there's still 3 problems for you on Sunday, mate.
Tell me about it, because they're 3 very, very good, capable footballers.
Surely, if Cresswell's fit, you go Cresswell over Dawson, don't you?
Yeah. Set piece delivery and what have you. But you could double up. I'm not against doubling up.
Double up. So you want to go 3 Spurs offensive and you want to go 2 West Ham defensive.
Yeah. I'm not
against it. Doesn't make sense.
I'm not against it. But the thing is, look, there's only 8 teams to pick from, James.
Any love for, Ben Rama's 5.9, Fornals is 6 million.
Any of them, pick
5.7. Are they all interesting?
They're all interesting. Just pick one and hold your breath, because they're all as capable of each other as of returning.
In the case of West Ham and Leicester, I do think there's a lot of information to obviously be gained Thursday before
massive, mate.
Calls.
Even if it goes, say we go to extra time and penalties, right, that makes an impact on when you're thinking, right, well, we've just played 3 games in a week and one's gone to 120 minutes.
I do think you might go all the way to penalties Thursday, by the way.
Yeah. I was talking to people in and around me at the ground, and the one guy that sits behind me is like, I don't even know how I'm going to get home if that happens, because there'll be no fucking trains at 11:30.
Don't go home, go down the pub.
That's what I told him.
Go to work the next morning.
That's what I told him. My wife did ask me a couple of days ago, what time do you think you'd be home on Thursday night then? I was like, well, I might not be home till Friday or Saturday.
Yarmolenko's 5.1, Suj.
If Antonio's out, the thing is...
Do you think you play up front if Antonio's out?
He played well up front. Problem is, Moyes did say that he's only trained 3 or 4 times in the last two and a half weeks. Whether or not he could get 90 minutes out of him is still a question mark, and the emotion's still going to be running high. I'm not going to go there, even if he's 5.1.
Do you think you could end up playing like Occo Flex up front or anything like that?
When? Sevilla or Spurs?
Against Spurs?
No.
No?
No.
It's 4.4 midfielder.
Yeah.
0 points this season. You want to
0 minutes this season.
You want to punt. Well, yeah, obviously 0 minutes.
Did you see Gerrard's interview post-game about Declan Rice?
No, I didn't, but I heard that he was asked if he ever wanted to be England manager.
I think he said, you've been linked with being England manager in the future. How do you feel about that? And he said, look, to be honest with you, I'm concentrating on my job now. And it's a nice thing to be associated with in the future, but it's not what I'm thinking about. But if I am, I hope Declan Rice available for selection. And then literally walked off. And you think about it, just the casual way he dropped it was one of the biggest. Like if I was Declan Rice and I heard that, I'd just be like, whoa. Like one of the best English midfielders of all time has just dropped that. That was the most subtle compliment. That was just the most powerful. It was incredible. Yeah.
One player we haven't mentioned is Ben Johnson.
Yes.
Who's 3.9. And I think he's really interesting. He'll be. There's every chance he could be my 15th player, for example. But I think he's potentially an interesting facilitator this week for people. So I'm seeing people who are sort of at maybe like Breuer level and want to get up towards Jimenez level. And maybe if you're sitting there with like a Cancelo or a Rudiger, your Johnson might be your facilitator. So one of the things I'm hearing a lot of people saying, and I bet this is one of the questions we've got on the Twitter queues, is a -4 worth it for any defender this week? Generally, probably no. But if Johnson facilitates you the other player, then the answer is yes, isn't it? So, and I think for those who are running through particularly, he's still very interesting. Plus, you have good fixtures 31 to 33, Suj, which begins with Everton at home in game week 31. So I think you can still look at West Ham. The information Thursday night is obviously absolutely critical. For Villa, Suj, if you had to go free Villa, what would you do?
Ramsey, Price. So again, being an enabler.
Price is irrelevant for free hit.
Yeah,
basically.
But okay.
So which free
it's
players?
a question for my free hit then. You've got to go Coutinho because he's still the player that they look for every time someone's got the ball.
Have you got to go for him?
I mean, yeah, I think so at his price.
But what I mean is you could easily go, couldn't you? You could go something like Barnes, Maddison, Kulusevski, Son, Rafinha. Boom, you're done.
Yeah.
So there's more midfield options this week than the other positions, isn't there? I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Kane will be in every free hit team.
Martinez, I think, is worth a shout.
Over Ramsdale, though?
Well, the thing is, though, if Martinez keeps a clean sheet, he ends up with BPS.
Same for Ramsdale. Was Ramsdale 9-pointer yesterday against Leicester?
Yeah. That's because of the saves. Partey ended up with max BPS, and then Ramsdale got 2. I agree, but Martinez, I think, is a consideration. It's difficult with the others. It is difficult. Cash.
Cash is very interesting.
Yeah, Cash is
definitely. I just think,
the other.
like, if the game goes Villa's way and they win 1-0 and it's unexpected, Cash could well be in the bonus or an attacking return there, couldn't he? And I think it's the upside. I mean, 1 week, ideally, you want to go for the full-backs / wing-backs. And certainly he plays like a wing-back for Villa. How did Ashley Young play?
Decent when he came on, to be fair. You know what you're going to get with him, right? He's an experienced pro. Nothing spectacular, but it was tidy, neat and tidy, and he was all right. But
Was he on the set pieces?
Nope.
Who took him?
Coutinho at the start was taking quite a few. John McGinn took a few.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think you'd go Cash over Young, though.
They didn't have many set pieces.
Cash 5.2 over Young 4.7.
Yeah, Cash.
Watkins or Ings? Basically same price. Watkins 7.5, Ings 7.7. It probably doesn't matter. If you went for one, I don't think many would, but
Watkins.
Yeah.
Watkins. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to go for either, if I'm honest with you.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. I think there was injury problems obviously come out of this for both sides. I think if West Ham go into the game on Sunday with no Cresswell, no Antonio or Bowen, that's...
Put Spurs in advantage.
Yeah, of course,
for
absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
But primarily as well, I think just the spin-off of that would probably be at the moment, you probably correct me if I'm wrong, but when Cresswell went off yesterday, did Johnson move to left back?
Yeah, Johnson moved to left, Fredericks went right back. That was one thing I was going to suggest about Ben.
Listen, been a bit critical about Sonny, but Sonny against Ryan Fredericks, good night.
Yeah, pace-wise, obviously Ryan Fredericks we know is quick, but his defensive capabilities could be a problem. He's prone to a mistake. He could give away a penalty by jumping in or what have you. So let's see. Last but not least, 2 teams again that are playing in game week 30. Arsenal 2, Leicester 0. Which 3 Arsenal? Seems to be the thing.
I'm not sure if that's the. I mean, I've got Saka, Tierney.
Yeah, I'll have both of those.
That might be it. I need to think about it properly. But there's a number of others would be under consideration. Ramsdale, Martinelli. I wouldn't even rule out Lacazette. Lacazette's probably a no for me because I think I see myself leaning towards a 3 of probably Kane, Jimenez plus Daka / Iheanacho. It's probably the way I see it going. But yeah, there's definite options there from Arsenal. They were excellent. They were really good. But I think they give Leicester a little bit too much respect in the second half of the first half. But they were really good. They've got some players who are playing really well at the moment. Thomas Partey, it's easy for him to be highlighted because he scored and assisted. But actually, beginning to look the real deal. And Arsenal were doing something. We spoke about this with Adam Pritchard on COTC last week. I'm actually going to do some analysis for the patrons this week, non-FPL, on Granit Xhaka for this week's Talking Tactics to show you that he's basically playing a very different position to what he normally plays. And actually, Partey feels more comfortable playing in that role by himself. I think the greater responsibility is good for him because Xhaka's playing more like an 8 at the moment.
Yep.
Like he's pushing on, doing a lot of off-the-ball running. That's also freeing up some space for Odegaard, who was absolutely outstanding. They're really good, unfortunately. 28 points in their last 11. That's great. I mean, that's title form, mate.
We were talking about it briefly yesterday. And the thing with Arsenal at the moment that, sorry, Arsenal fans, is a bit annoying and frustrating. It's actually, it rather than Arsenal played well in one game, they're building a style of play, momentum, and a team that will be consistent.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And that's what's annoying. Because if they were flashing the pan and then 2 weeks later they could be rubbish again, fine. But I actually feel like this is building something.
I think that they can end the whole season if they win on Wednesday. Like if Arsenal win on Wednesday, the only thing left to do this season is watch Everton. Because I think if Arsenal win, the title's done. And I think if Arsenal win, top four's done. And it's a massive game Wednesday. I can already see it now coming out of Brighton actually being happy for a change and then seeing Arsenal have won. But they're doing so well. Those who listen to us regularly know I've been saying for months that I think they'll be the team that gets fourth. I think, and to be fair, this goes for certain other teams like Tottenham at the moment. There's definitely a benefit in the fact that they're only really having to play once a week. So they've got a settled team. The team that's playing at the moment is basically their best 11, bar obviously Tomiyasu's mystery. He's a doubt again, seems to be going on every single week. Although I think Cedric's doing okay. As we spoke about last week, the brakes are really on Kieran Tierney at the moment, but I know it'd be sod's law. I'll take him out on a free hit and it'll be the week he returns the 12 or 15 pointer, and the capability of the player is certainly still there. Arsenal probably, I think, maybe have the most variety of options for this week, I would say.
Yeah, even
like I think with Tottenham, there's probably only, for free hitters, there's probably only 5 options. Doherty, Reguilon, Kulusevski, Son and Kane.
Yep.
Whereas there's Arsenal, I think there's more.
Yep.
There's more. Like if you are struggling for cash, then not literal Matty Cash, then Cedric, you've got Tierney obviously.
Ben White's not expensive.
Gabriel, Ramsdale. To be honest, the only one you could probably definitely rule out is probably ironically Partey and Xhaka, ironically. But you know someone's going to do that this coming week, by the way. Like someone like Douglas Luiz or Højbjerg is going to be like the 15-pointer or so, isn't it? I mean, that's the way it always works out. Not that you should go for these sort of players. I think Arsenal have a real variety. Saka, Tierney, definites for me. I don't think Tierney should be a definite for everyone else. Saka will be really popular this week. But his ownership won't be off the chart because I think nearly everybody's going to captain Kane, and even those who don't are probably going to captain Son, I should imagine, which isn't a discredit to West Ham. It's just the power of the premium players going into this week, I think. So Saka would be the priority one. They've got good fixtures afterwards. I think Martinelli is probably the next best. But it'd be interesting. I wonder if people psychologically get put off by Martinelli because they think, I can spend more.
I've got more money.
Yeah, interesting.
Leicester, obviously playing as well, and probably one of the better, more attractive fixtures in Brentford. Is it a trap?
I hate that word. What does that mean? Let's talk about that now.
It means that
what is a trap?
We are making decisions.
Nico, cut this bit up as a video.
Yeah.
What is a trap?
What is a trap? It's a style of music.
Is it?
That you and me don't listen to.
Probably.
When you make decisions on information that really, is it as good as it seems? So Brentford at home, how good a fixture really is it for Leicester when Leicester's form hasn't been amazing recently, and Brentford's has? And yet we look at it and we say, well, Brentford are a newly promoted team. Leicester have won trophies in the last 5-6 years. Therefore, Leicester are the favourites in this game. Well, looking at 11 versus 11, are Leicester really favourites in this game?
Yes.
It's where you end up painting a narrative based on information that actually, right here, right now, maybe isn't true. And so you get sucked into making a decision when it was on the false basis, really.
I feel like I should have 3 Leicester players this week. For me, they've got the best fixture. I think Brentford, even in spite of changing to this back four, have shown even in the games against Norwich and Burnley some vulnerability. Like they easily could have conceded against Burnley at the weekend. Better offensively, possibly a little bit weaker defensively. I think midfield runners could be a little bit of an issue for them at the moment with the way they're playing. I mean, I should have said it earlier. Actually, I'll tell you what, to throw out a real differential name for this week, actually, Suj, who's dirt cheap if you're worrying about the money, is Janelt. 4.9 at Brentford is the one who's really breaking into the box. But I think Leicester might give Burnley some trouble the other way. I think Tielemans, potentially on pens as well, with Vardy out, might be the one. The problem is, I don't think the Leicester team yesterday helped us understand in any way what the team might be against Brentford on Sunday. And I can't tell you which Leicester players are in mind until the Thursday night game's gone. So I know on the face of it, ideally, I'd like one defensive one. I'd probably like Harvey Barnes, and I'd probably like Daka, ideally. Because I think the system they're playing at the moment, and how many times we said about Ian Asho not having chances, great. Give him a chance yesterday. That system's not suitable. He needs a partner. Mm-hmm. All his good work last year was when he was playing like with Vardy, right? So he needs a partner. So Ian Asho doesn't appeal as much if he's the one that I think is going to play. But then if Daka plays Thursday night, and I think he might have the favouritism, and that's the competition they're favouring, does he play Sunday? This is the nightmare. What I really want to see Thursday, I want to see Iheanacho in the team again. And I go, yeah, shit. Daka's playing Sunday. Bang, that's perfect. 1 week, don't have to worry about it afterwards. I want Barnes to get a break. I want Maddison to get a break. I want Tielemans to get a break. Something that's going to make my decision easier for Sunday. At the moment, it feels muddied. Muddied to the extent I'd go, shall I go Schmeichel? The one goalkeeper I know won't save a penalty this week because the player he'd be potentially saving one from. Can that guy, by the way, Schmeichel, is he capable of conceding a goal and not moaning about it? Jesus, he's something else, isn't he?
Yeah. He's getting disliked more and more.
I really think it's like I said the other week, since he did that interview before Denmark played England, we all noticed he was a bit of a twat.
Yeah.
And now it's on our minds. Still a very good goalkeeper, mind. Defensively, even Ricardo Pereira, I think 1 week. After, Pereira doesn't start on Thursday. I think he starts on Sunday. I want to pump Pereira then at 5.2. The rest of it's muddied. I can see me being in a position where I go, you know what? I hate this. I'm going to go like Soyuncu and Tielemans and be really dull about it. So we will talk about Leicester more on Friday's podcast once we've got the information of Thursday night. But I mean, if you were going early from, I don't see how you can.
Yeah, agreed.
Clearly their priority, and this is important for those running through as well, their priority while they're in this competition, the Europa Conference League, is going to be it looks like. They've got nothing to play for in the league. Ain't going to challenge for Europe. Ain't going to get sucked into trouble. They're in no man's land where it feels like they have a good enough quality that if they play with a bit of freedom, they could give anyone a good beating on their day. But it also feels like, yes, Suj, I wouldn't be surprised if Brentford went to Leicester and won 1-0 on Sunday.
Cool.
That's the problem right now.
Good. I'm just having a look at some of the Twitter questions that we got, James, that we're going to get into. Quite a few around certain player options and what have you that I think are not worth worrying about till Thursday, Friday when we know what's happened with the midweek games and what have you. So we will skip some of those. But before we get into some of the better Twitter questions, and I'm talking about, non-football related ones, although we'll chuck a few football ones in. What do we have this week? What's work this week, eh?
People's poll vote is live now to around about 5 p.m. UK time today. You have a choice of 3 options. More Chelsea, as obviously this saga with Abramovich and Chelsea continues, but a little bit of a different spin of it. If you want to vote for it, we're going to open it up to a Q&A, because I think the danger for me and Suj, the more we keep covering this, is we keep feeling like we miss something. So we'd like to open it up to a Q&A where you'd ask us something, perhaps something you don't understand, a completely non-FPL related Chelsea discussion just about what's happening with the football club. So if that wins, we'll open it up to a Q&A. Concussion. There was a game even in the women's game yesterday between Tottenham and Man City, where the Man City ladies goalkeeper got injured. She stayed on the pitch for 10 minutes, then went off. Football has a continuing problem with concussion protocols ongoing. I think there's easy resolution for it that I'd like to discuss. And NFTs is a subject a lot of people have asked us to do for a long time because I don't really understand them. So you can take the lead on this one, Suj, if it wins. Do you know what they are?
Yeah. Of course.
Non-fungible tokens, isn't it?
It is. Well pronounced.
Messy. Lionel. Very.
Yeah, I already had one of our regular listeners in my DM saying, because the way you phrase it was the problem with NFTs. I think it's more, are they a problem?
All right, are they a problem?
Well, we'll talk about it if it wins the vote.
Yeah, I reckon they are.
So that's People's Poll tomorrow. Wednesday, Sky Fantasy Football.
Wednesday, Sky Fantasy. Thursday, Clash of Correspondence, Wolves versus Leeds. Bradley Parker and Andy Martin. Me and Suj will be back on Friday to talk tonight's Palace Man City game, the 2 Wednesday games, Everton, Newcastle Thursday. And we'll probably smash through 3-hit drafts, I think, Suj, because
we will have to.
We're both going to be on it. At least then we've got the Leicester West Ham information on Friday as well. Patreon pods this week, Q&A today. Suj, do you know what the pod is tomorrow?
I don't.
No, that's fine. You haven't read. It's okay. Football conspiracies. I got something interesting.
Conspiracy.
Football conspiracies tomorrow on Patreon. Wednesday will be Tottenham. Thursday is going to be a quiz. The theme idea came about because, Tottenham have now scored 9 own goals in the Premier League this season. Or as in 9 have been scored for them. So in honour of great own goals, we're going to do a quiz on great own goals. And Friday will be our Game Week 30 preview, where we'll certainly have a look at perhaps at more differential players who are available to us in Game Week 30. Advanced tier content this week includes away days on Thursday. I'll be going to Brighton Wednesday night, so review that on Thursday. And I'm going to have a look at Granit Xhaka's positioning for Arsenal and talking tactics this week.
Right, I'm going to try and be fair and put a few football questions in amongst the others.
Go on then.
But firstly, more than anything, people want to know what you did with the filter and why.
The filter?
On the pictures that you use for the post.
I changed my phone. I can't get the cartoon filter anymore.
Oh, wow. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it really is, yeah.
We need to get some technical help. Nico on the camera, can you help James get the filter back
get me the cartoon filter back
on his phone? Because the people
are upset.
Yeah, there's loads of... Why have you changed the filter? Jimmy, your claret... It's like, when's the original filter coming back? Because he nearly missed the tweet because he didn't recognise it because if you changed the filter.
Jimmy the Claret, by the way, before you move on, you need to click on Jimmy the Claret's profile. And can you read it out loud?
His bio, because he made a bet with someone. So who gets the most likes if something happens?
I happened to be looking at Twitter at the wrong time for Jimmy on Saturday on my way out, I think it was just after deadline. He messaged saying, because he's a Burnley fan. I met Jimmy when I went up to Manchester before we played Burnley the first time in November when the snow came. He tweeted, he said, Burnley definitely winning today. If we don't, whoever has the most likes in a response to this tweet can change my bio and my profile picture. Yeah. So I just sent a tweet back saying, can everyone like this?
Yeah, I saw that and I liked it.
Game over.
So he is the leader of the Northwest's Planet FPL Supporters Club and Love Azablood.
Yeah, well, it's a picture of
Aaron Lennon.
Asa Lennon. And to be fair, what the people might not know is I've actually saved Jimmy because the most liked tweet other than mine was of just a picture of a Blackburn Rovers crest.
So
I've done him a massive favour, really. Has he got a good question?
Yeah, he wants to know when the filter's coming back, mate. But we'll work on the technicalities around it Jimmy. And see if we can. Right, this one's quite important. I'm going to find it, James. But the essence of the questions from Roscoe is... creamy sauce with your pasta or a tomato-based sauce with your pasta?
I'm more of a creamy, to be honest.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Carbonara over tomato. I think when you're younger, you gravitate more towards tomato.
I agree with that.
Probably because it's what they churn out at school more. But as you get older, I fancy a bit of creamy sauce with the old pasta.
Like when you're like 14, 15, you're like, I'm never drinking coffee. I don't know why you old people like it.
Yeah.
And by the time you're 25, like you depend on that shit every day.
It's in your veins. Nico is on the camera. Creamy sauce or red sauce?
I'll go for creamy.
He's creamy as well. Planet FPL officially is all creamy sauce pasta boys. So for North v South, James, on the 28th of May, for our carb loading before the game, we're all on the creamy pasta. That's the one. This question is coming in from... I've got to find it now.
Hurry up.
Why don't I tag him?
Hurry up.
Do you think... This is from Employee of the Month. Twice.
Yeah.
Do you think your belt should always match your shoes, or have you moved past that?
No.
I very rarely wear shoes now. Like I wear trainers.
You don't even do your shoelaces up most days.
It's a waste of time. If I was wearing shoes, like with a suit, then I would wear a brown belt if I was wearing brown shoes and a black belt if I was wearing black shoes.
Really?
Yeah. I also rarely, I always wear black shoes.
I've really never thought that deep. Like if you're wearing brown shoes, surely you can still wear a black belt. No.
It's not cool.
Look at me. Am I trying to be cool? I'm wearing a cardigan.
Oh dear. Yeah, I think they should, but I mean, it's as far as fashion fails go, it's not the biggest. This one also, Jez, we had this on a Patreon pod last week, and I think we came to a conclusion, but the main pod listeners won't have heard our debate on this. Doors or wheels? We agreed doors because we said buildings, skyscrapers, got shitloads of doors.
Yeah. When we got asked this, we didn't realise that this was such a big deal that it was going on social media.
Yeah, but then there are a lot of wheels around as well. I think we're going to go doors, though.
Yeah,
probably.
We're staying with doors. There's some brilliant content out there. The best one I've seen is Bristol City. Bristol City, one of their players, he got proper deep about the answer. It was like a minute and a half worth. Absolute gold.
Yep. Right, we've got some interesting questions about players. I mean, best Leicester fullback till the end of the season. I don't think you can answer that. It's Pereira, but he can't play 2 games in a row,
Thomas,
can he?
If you had to buy one right now, Thomas, and at least just leave it on the bench in the other weeks as it stands. This is the problem for people who are looking to think, Leicester going to have doubles, yada, yada, yada. Well, the first thing is probably not till game week 33. And whether they're in or out of Europe is probably going to have a big dependence on how much you really want, because I mean, there's a lot. Jamie Vardy, right? If Jamie Vardy was going to play every game. We know he's injured at the moment. Great, brilliant option, potential captain, double game weeks, etc. You think Jamie Vardy's going to be playing Sunday, Thursday for like 3 weeks in a row? No, he's not. Unless they're going to be 10th or 11th in the league, and it's the league games that won't matter if they're still in Europe. So, like, honestly, the best thing for the FPL managers who've got all the chips left and stuff is for Leicester to go out of Europe.
Yep. And the last question of the show,
specifically in the quarterfinals, would be really handy.
I'm going to wrap up a couple of talking points, James, on the free hit that people have asked. So the 2 questions are, how many players would you have that would make it not worth taking a free hit for this week? And I understand it depends on who those players are. But the second part of that question that we're being asked by a number of people is, a -4s, -8s worth it? Like, is a -4 for an extra defender this week, for example, worth it, or -8? So to wrap this show, let's just kind of summarise it, because we'll cover it in more detail on Friday. And like you mentioned, in terms of budget, people don't need to push the button today or tomorrow or Wednesday. So hold tight and we will cover it off more on Friday. But a lot of people are getting itchy fingers, trigger finger on the old button and needing to know what they're doing. 6 players worth it?
What, activating a free hit?
Yeah.
I think, again, to be honest, I know it's a cop-out answer, but if you've got 6 players and you haven't got any Tottenham,
you need it.
Then the first question is, what's your plan? Now, it might be you go, well, that's completely justifiable then to take a -4 to go from Salah to Son and someone else to Kane, right? And then 8, yeah, okay, great.
Then I wouldn't bother, yeah. -4 in that case makes sense.
So, I can't get to Son without selling Salah. Now, that might even be an option for me. But even still, if I make that 1 free transfer, I'm down to 6. And Ramsey would definitely not be part of a free hit. So, do I see the gain in doing it? I spoke about transfers before and afterwards. Now, I've negated that a little bit because I've just taken a -12, right? But I also think there's an advantage for me in terms of on the other side, if I free hit now, that not only am I holding 3 Liverpool players, I'm also on the other side walking back in with Cancelo, Rudiger, right? Other players who, like, I'm seeing a lot of teams at the moment got like no Chelsea, no Man City. They've both got brilliant fixtures in game week 31. And people are going to come off Southampton assets. They're going to come off Burnley assets who might suddenly have a double and stuff like that. Weghorst is sitting there for me because I think he might be everyone's captain in game week 32 again very suddenly if Burnley Everton goes in there. So I think there's advantages not just looking at it just in game week 30. There's a bigger picture to that in terms of players on the other side as well. I think it's absolutely fine generally to run through this week with 7-8 players. And if you've got Kane and Son, I don't think the damage can be too much to you. They're the two players, and arguably Saka as well. Those three players are the ones that really do damage you. You should also have some Arsenal defensive, I think, because the effective ownership on Arsenal defensive this week gone was over 100%. So it certainly is going to be this coming week. So I think Arsenal defensive you need, Saka you need at least one of Kane or Son. And if you've got that, generally I don't think it's... I could free hit and miss everything, right? I could go free Leicester. 2 of them might be sub and the other one might get 2-pointer, right? And I'll miss it, 4 points or so. And that can definitely... And that will happen to people this week who make the incorrect decisions based on what they think a team's going to be or something like that. So there's no guarantee that this is going to work out. I think as long as you've got the main body parts of Tottenham, Arsenal in there, I think you can go even with 6-7 and stomach it.
There we go.
In terms of hits,
yeah,
I explained the example like Johnson. If Johnson's going to facilitate
enable
you,
a bigger player coming
then
in,
of course, it's fine because then you're getting the appearance points this week. Plus, West Ham have great fixtures, 31 to 33. So you can even use him in forthcoming weeks as well. So in that kind of case, yes. If you're judging it on, I'm going to get this player in for the sake of, I don't know, let's say you've got Rudiger and you don't want to sell any of your Liverpool assets and he's the only way for you to make a transfer this week and you want to go Rudiger to someone who's playing and it's just for this week for a -4. No, they're probably not.
Perfect. Well done. And thank you, James. Listeners, if you want any of the additional content that James mentioned earlier, patreon.com/Planet FPL. You know that. Might have seen or heard about that before. Other than that, thank you for joining us today. See you tomorrow and make sure you're subscribed so that you get notified as soon as we go put out the content on Friday. Stay safe. Ciao for now.
Thanks, everyone. Be nice to each other. Cue music, please, man child.